Hello my dear friends, today we're going to paint landscape with a bush in the center with a lake, and I'm starting from the cleaning of my paper from extra pencil graphite. As you can see now, you can use sketch from my Patreon. Paper I'm using today, it's a Hahnemann 24-32 centimeters. It's the size of paper and it's a slightly textured as a canvas. Of course, you can also take just a normal canvas on board or a canvas and complete this painting with me. As you can see, this sketch you can print a little bit smaller, so just make lines a bit further till the ends of the paper. I'm going to paint with gouache today. I already introduced to you these paints. It's very interesting because I like unique finish. It's matte. When gouache absolutely dry, it's a matte, and it's a bit lighter than you painting. When it's dry, it's getting lighter. Slightly, not much, but still. In the end, it's giving, some kind of pastel look, soft look to your final result. About white, I personally like more zinc white more than titanium, and today I'm starting with a zinc because if it have a cold undertone in it, titanium much more yellow if it's compared to zinc white. And I'm spreading very thin layer of white on the whole sky. If you're painting with me with acrylic, and this tutorial also can be done with acrylic, just the same steps, do just same. Spread a little amount of watery white on the whole area of the sky, and just be sure the amount of water there fair enough, because we need to keep this thin layer not dry completely. It will have to spread blue, the color of the sky, more smooth. You can see the layer really thin, a lot of water in it, so lines of sketch are still visible. I will choose now blue. It's a cobalt blue color. I prefer to take it on my palette with palette knife, because this way you will keep colors in your containers clear. Let's mix together white and blue, and let's spread it. We following the rule, color of the sky, tone of color, more deep, more blue on top, and it became lighter and lighter as you're getting closer to horizontal line. Don't create sky too smooth. It still can have some lines, some brush strokes on it. You can see now I'm not trying to create very smooth gradient, right? Just spreading color, more dark on top, lighter to the horizon, and strokes still visible. Let me get more color on my brush. And now I will tap with strokes on a paper. This way you can get smoother colors. Another way, you can get bigger brush. Sometimes I like to pat, paper with brush. It's giving cloudy sky. Like it's have some clouds, folks. Very interesting technique. With big brush, it's getting smoother and faster. And very nice looking on a paper that textured as a canvas. All strokes that you don't like, you can cover with this technique, and sky will look very interesting, not boring at all, not too smooth, Just try it, I really like it. Also, if you don't wanna go this way, you can add more water on a paper or canvas and spread completely all strokes. Also can be. I'd say try different techniques on a different landscape and choose whatever you like. As you can see now, it's another way, spreading extra amount of paper. Don't forget to add water, of course. I'm trying not to go too far on areas where I'm planting bushes and trees, because blue will still be, slightly visible under the green in the future. We don't need it. About clouds, I will pot this kind of clouds looking perfect if you create sky with a potting, not with just a spreading, with a potting. So just complete the same with your clouds. I don't like lots of too white, too thick clouds on a background, just a little bit. Flat, round-shaped brush, oval-shaped brushes, perfect for clouds. Don't pay too much attention, because these clouds are light, they are far, and the most detailed areas we will create on the foreground. Still, some edges of clouds I will detail with a smaller brush. Just some edges can be brighter, more white. Big shapes we're creating with the bigger brushes, and smaller shapes we can correct some lines, some tiny details we can correct to add with the smaller brushes. Still, I don't want to spend too much time with clouds. I'd say you have to plan for this landscape about an hour or hour and a half. The light direction. Here we're gonna have from the right to the left. So all lights, like leaves, light on the leaves, gonna be from the right side, and all shadows gonna be from the left sides. I'm just spreading a little bit. I also highly recommend to you step back. As soon as you're getting closer to your inner view, you know, how you wanna your sky and clouds looking, step back, check it from the distance. Are you happy enough? Is all details are good, you know, not need any correction. I will also add tiny clouds on a blue sky, because in my view now I did 2 steps back and I noticed blue sky, you know, looking too solid, too dark. So in my view, those kind of light dark blue clouds can look good. Don't use clear white. Mix it with your sky color, and this way clouds will look more light, because color you're using for it blue already. It's just a little bit lighter than a sky color. It's just enough. And a tiny details, it's light again from the right side. As I know, not all people like clouds on the sky. Some people prefer absolutely clear and blue sky. It also can be for this landscape. Just follow your own taste. If you don't wanna to put any clouds on your painting, just skip this step and you can go further to the background part. All sharp white details can be added only from the right side. And I will blend colors close to horizontal, spreading more horizontal, you know, not just a tiny bit. And we're gonna move to the next step. It's a black color. I will take it from the cap. Still, you know, it's enough. I'm mixing white, same blue that I already have on my palette. White, black and blue. Pick up cobalt blue. Same blue as you used for your sky. You can take ultramarine as well as a basic color for your sky. This way you have to use ultramarine as well for background hills. So same blue that you already used, you mix into the shade of those hills there. Again, brush I'm using, it's from the set of brushes. You have links and I put on my Patreon photo of all materials I'm using. And look what we're doing, we're spreading this color on a hill. Don't push too much, don't make too high pressure on your brush. Imagine you putting soft blusher on your cheek. You're not gonna push too hard, right? Because it's your face. Imagine this paper, it's a face now. And spread gentle. This way your stroke brushes will look different than you push harder, you know. Amount of pressure really affects how brush stroke looking. Try both way. Sometimes push harder, sometimes lighter, and this way all brush strokes will look different and very interesting. We can't see really a color of green very far because of the rule of air perspective. We only able to see the common shape of hills. Of course, we can see light and shadows, but no green yet. When hills will go closer to us, we will start to see the green color, exact color that hills actually have. And also all objects that very far from us, they have to be lighter and lighter, as far as lighter, right? Objects close to us can be very contrasted, have a lot of colors in it, can be dark, but again, objects far from us have to be light, not contrasted, and have no color in it. This way, if you will remember this rule in your mind, this way you will be able to create really realistic looking landscapes from far distance to close distance. As you can see now, I added a green color. It's a dark green marked on my gouache. I also put all links for materials I'm using. Now I will pick up another kind of brush. It's a watercolor shape, just a round, normal round brush, not a big size. I'm gonna paint some trees, some forest very far from us, close to those hills there. Again, no any long strokes, just a short prints of your brush. We can also add some details like lights and shadows on this forest. Same rule, same light direction, light from the right, so shadows keep on the left sides. You can see now it's two lines of hills. Far line lighter and more blue, and next line more green and darker, and have more details on it. That's it. Now better use ochre if you have a choice. Don't pick up yellow, it's too juicy, too fresh color. We don't need it yet. Let's keep it for foreground later. Yellow. Now pick up ochre. If you haven't, better choose umber maybe plus yellow. Mix it a little bit. We don't need really saturated yellowish yet. Mix ochre plus green plus white on your palette, and we're gonna create some fields very far from us. I'm not mixing too well colors on a palette. I just picking color by color, spread it a little bit on palette, and straight after painting, making long strokes, long horizontal strokes on a paper. And as soon as those fields ready, completed, we're creating again some kinds of forests, maybe bushes, small plants there. Hopefully you saw my previous tutorial for this landscape where we planned together this landscape. I'm planning to create in the middle of composition lake, blue lake. So here we have a coastline. I have in mind that it can be, like sand close to water. And it's a lake area. I'm gonna use the same way of painting. Now I'm creating first layer of white. Again, it's a lake gonna be in the future. So the whole area of water I'm covering with a wet, thin layer of zinc white. And spreading. Trust me, it's a fair amount of water on my brush. So white color spreading very easy. And all other colors on top will be easily spreaded. More easy, I'd say, than just on a dry paper or dry canvas. Next, I'm gonna, pick this brush, not too small, but small enough already, because we moving now to the middle ground. So detailing gonna be better and better, and the best detailing we're gonna leave for foreground for sure. And we have a group of trees and bushes on our left side and right sides. Not making any long strokes, just, like making prints of my brush on a paper, patting gently. This way, bushes will look more natural. I'd say fluffy enough, like fresh trees with lots of leaves on it. You can use darker shades, a little bit lighter shades, but still now on this step, this first layer of green have to be dark enough. Can be some color variations, but still dark enough. Because next layer we're gonna complete lighter. And also under the trees, imagine it's like a small island there. Again, closer to water, it's gonna be sand, or maybe it's a grass that be dry because of sun. So I mixed the ochre, again, not yellow, I already explained why. And it's lake time. Let's create water, same color as you picked up for your sky. For me, it's a cobalt blue. I just adore this shade of blue, honestly, I like it very much. And we starting opposite way. For sky, we started darker from the top and we went lighter to horizontal. For the water, because it's a reflection, it's opposite way, closer to us, to the bottom line of paper. It's a darker blue, and closer to horizontal, you're going on top, use lighter and lighter blue. That's it, and spreading a bit. We don't have to create too smooth gradient here for water, because water always have some reflections. It's not flat completely, it can have some waves on it, so it's not as same as a sky. Here we again don't need to create too smooth gradient. And about reflections, please pick up same colors from the palette as we used for green, for bushes, for some green plants far from us. Put it horizontally and then spread a little bit vertically. Still, this paint's still wet, you know, so just a spread vertically. 1-2 strokes, just enough. As soon as you're done with it, you can pick up some light blue shade from palette and make horizontal, very thin strokes with a flat slanted brush with the edge of it. It's like, you know, a tiny waves. Area of lake not too big here, so we don't need to detail it really well. I think I will not put any better detailization for waves, but I created darker area under the coastline for reflection, for better reflection. And now, if you already saw my previous tutorials where I demonstrated my brushes, I kinda like this zigzag brush because it's creating grass so easy, so fast, so easy. I don't know, I just in love with these brushes. With this one zigzag and with a fork brush. And look how easy this brush creating grass. And let's create also coastline going closer to us. We are getting closer and closer to our bush in the center, and also we're going to the foreground. But now let's open our yellow. It's a light yellow shade. If you're working with acrylic, it's medium yellow. Don't pick up lemon yellow. It's too cold tone in it. Choose more. Let me check. Yeah, it's calling yellow medium. Absolutely same as on my gouache tube. I have here with me different trademarks of acrylics and gouache, so I can see what colors match each other from different trademarks. Lemon yellow have two cold, like a greenish undertone in it, so I don't recommend it for the scent. For scent, better to choose medium yellow. As you can see now, I spreaded this mix, bit of green, bit of medium yellow and white on an all coast area. And also I mixed a bit of light yellow shade. Still, it's ochre in it, it's green in it, and big amount of white. I already told you guys that white we're using the most. Sometimes I have just a very small tubes of colors, but white I'm always getting in the biggest sized tubes as possible, because you know, just I'm using a lot of it. Next color, it's burnt umber. I like how it's mixing with the green. This green, it's same as medium green. So just a normal green. It's not, not too emerald, not too viridian. Viridian have brown undertone in it. Also, don't pick up those one. Choose just a normal middle green that you have. And I'm creating, kind of mixing greenness on top of those sand color. As soon as this area's visible now, it's colored with sand and green grass colors. Lake sitting better in this painting, better and better. And only when all white areas covered with the colors, at least with the first layer of color of paints, we can start to understand how painting going. Don't make any decision about your painting until first layer of paints, put it everywhere. Because sometimes, especially for beginners, it's so, common mistake. You can think like work not going well. But again, don't make any decisions before you cover it everything with the colors. Even if you don't like painting in the middle of the process, try to step over this moment and complete it anyway. Only this way you will go better, you will get better and better with your painting. Because when you have, those layers on top and on top, lots of layers, you can fix some your tiny mistakes. You can make colors better on top than you just make it on the first layer. And this way, you really will have a better progress in your painting. I told you before, leave bright yellow for foreground, and now it's a time for it. I'm gonna use a mix of medium yellow plus ochre, golden ochre. For road, I have here a small road going on me. Looking too yellow now, right? Don't worry. It's gonna look good. It's again about them. Don't make any decisions before all areas are completed. And remember, we have casted shadows from the right to the left. So on a right side, we're gonna have some grass, green grass. And now I already planning some cast shadows that we have from the grass on the road. You can see I'm not mixing too well colors, so some different shades are visible on a road, for example. It's sometimes tiny amount of white or a brown, yellow, it's mixing on a paper with my brush. Same way, I'm gonna paint this first layer from grass. Direction of strokes here mostly horizontal. Now in my mind and on my paper, I'm just planning color of grass. I want to create it not too emerald green. I want to create it more deep green with a warm tone in it, so it can be slightly amount of yellow there, again for warm tone. And don't put too flat color, I mean don't spread same color everywhere. You can see sometimes I'm going with even a brown, it's burnt umber for darker areas, for some shadow areas, and still I'm trying to evade flat color. Today we're not gonna put any flowers on a foreground, it's gonna be just a different shades of green. Can be more yellow, more brown. I don't like idea to mix blue and brown together, because this way you can get some really dirty looking areas. It's just unpleasant mix in my view. I don't like it personally, and we already have blue accents here in a sky and as a lake, just enough. Don't put any blue on a foreground mixes. Same paint work on another side from the road, on the right side. I'm just picking different colors from a different area of my palette and spreading. Not too smooth. I'm trying to touch my paper not with a sharp edge of brush, but with a flat brush, spreading this way. Okay, now it's a time for grass detailing, and again I'm gonna use my zigzag brush. Also chalk, I'm using now a transparent palette. Why I like it so much? Because you can, see how color gonna sit on your painting even before you put it on a painting. Really very handy. And we're starting to detail this grass. Touch your paper softly, be gentle. I'm touching with the very tips of this brush, and in one touch I can create a lot of grasses, a lot of single strokes, just because of shape of the brush. Also here it's gonna be a darker area because of a shadow. Let me put it more visible here. I'm gonna go with brown shadows, and even you can spread with your fingers some areas on a foreground. Because of texture of paper, when you're spreading with your fingers, texture will be more visible. Fingers can spread paint only on top layer of canvas, so color not going inside, in pores. This way texture of canvas will be really more visible. I just personally I like it. I like this technique. Sometimes I'm using a lot. Maybe later I will create some tutorials with this technique with the fingers, and I will demonstrate it better. But today just on the foreground, on this road. Always try different ways of painting. If you combine it together, final result looking more rich, more interesting to look. Darker shadows I'm gonna have from the right side of the road and a softer brown color on the left side, because this edge of road have more light. And let's get back to our grass. Again, don't push on your brush too hard. Sometimes I'm touching with a flat side, sometimes I'm turn my brush a little bit, 45 degrees, touching just with the one side. It depends, you know. And a lots of times I'm going back to my palette, remixing color on my brush, even if I still have a paint on my brush, I'm getting back, making fresh mix. This way your grass will have more shades, different shades in it, and will look more interesting in the end. Don't try to create same grass everywhere. Sometimes it can be more green, more light. Somewhere it can be darker, you know, like in the shadows. Nature can't be too regular. It's not a park, not a garden that trimmed with a gardener. I can regulate amount of paint on my brush, and if I have some extra paint that I don't need, I can knock on my palette and I remove extra paint leaving on palette. So sometimes my brush, I'd say half dry, have not a big amount of paint on it. And just the same process we have on the left side. Again, it's a green grass, but it's not same green everywhere. Can be darker, more brown in it, more brown in mix. Can be lighter, more yellow in a mix. Here on a foreground you already can mix medium yellow with green for more bright, vibrant color. Here on foreground we can paint with the best saturated colors with a high contrast, because yeah, it's a point of interesting from our viewer. All strokes kinda short, because this landscape today I want to create with a short grass. You can go on my channel and watch. We already created landscape with acrylic with a long grass and the flowers in it, and I used different brush, by the way, with a longer bristle. It's a short one now, so it's a zigzag, perfect for short grass. All lights, spotlights on a grass we have from the right side mostly. And now it's the next layer. I'm going lighter and lighter, as you can see, from the deep tones to the lighter tones. Now it's, I believe, the most light shade. Lots of white in it, some yellow, some ochre and green, of course, but again, tone kinda light. Also, please notice I already have dark spot on the left side from my bush in the center, because also cast shadow from this bush gonna fall on the left side from it. So I'm not creating any light details, any light grass there. Also, I plant a bit of plants and probably small bushes, maybe trees that just 1 year are growing there. So it's a short, not big. Same way, darker tone for first layer. Again, it's no any blue in it. It's green, milk green plus burnt umber. Looking dark, right? We're not gonna leave it so dark till the end. We will detail it later. Just light details on a dark underlayer will look really contrasted. And we have this big bush in a center. Brush I'm using for it, it's a flat oval shaped, but I turned it on an edge. Let me explain what brushes we're gonna use for this big bush. Another brush you will need, it's a natural bristle brush, kinda rough, and we're gonna create this interesting detailed looking edges. So first, just keep in mind in the future we will detail better with a natural bristle brush. Keep it in mind and don't paint any smallest leaves with brush I'm using now. These steps I have in my mind, so I know about it. I'm gonna use in the future, but you don't. So that's why I have to demonstrate you what steps waits for us in the future. So first we're going for a flat. It's not a big sized brush. I'd say it's a medium sized. Again, it's a brush from the set of brushes. They are just one shaped like this, flat oval brush, so picked it up. First layer for green leaves, also dark. I'm mixing green plus burnt umber. Also, I'm not painting with long strokes. It's not fans, you know, not fans. Don't go just up and down, or right and left. Even if it's just a first layer already painted as it have leaves on it. Brush stroke by brush stroke, one by one. Make prints of your brush. Yes, it's not so fast, but this way you will get a really interesting and natural looking plant in the end. I don't know, guys, if you can hear it from my voice, but today we really have so rainy weather, very windy. Hopefully it will not mess up too much with my voice. again, sound of rain and wind really loud now. Probably you can't hear it, but I can. Okay, it's not a fast work, but I don't wanna speed up my video, because in my view it will give you better feeling about how real work real paint going. If you just watching time lapses, you can get the wrong idea. Painting really going fast and smooth. It's not. Some steps don't need too much experience in painting, but it's taking time. Just because, for example, now we have to, get these prints stroke by stroke. Also, probably you noticed I still have left a green tree on the right side, and also I made here a tiny marks on a sky with water splashes. I will correct it later, and also I'll show to you how to make it invisible on a final result. It can happen, especially because I'm painting not on easel. I made a decision to paint on a table with a fixed paper on a table and fixing with paper tape, because in my opinion, for you, this way you can see better all steps I'm doing, all brush strokes I'm doing. If it's painting on easel, sometimes because of angle you can't see some brush strokes, because I'm covering with my hand, with my head. For me, yes, I prefer to work on easel, and for you I can really recommend it to do. It's really so, just so nice to paint on easel, but for me, for videos, but it's not really so. Sometimes, yes, I can get these splashes. If you're painting on easel, your water always too far from painting. And I told you we're gonna put more details with a natural bristle brush. For these brushes, I also put all links. You can follow links for materials and check how those brushes looking and where I get it. I got it from AliExpress. It's so rough, and if you will just check how this brush looking at real store, you will take it in your hand, you will probably think what I'm gonna create with this kind of brushes, but it's so handy for detailing, so nice for snow, for tiny leaves, for water splashes. Just try it once, you will fall in love with it. And we detailing leaves everywhere on edge of this bush. See how natural it's looking? You can't get this kind of brush strokes with any other type of brush. That's not possible to create with, for example, number 00 brush with a tiny brush. No way. It's just this type of natural bristle rough brushes. I'm mixing now kind of light shade. You see how light it is, and I'm going on a top. I already have underlayer and it's very dark. So all strokes now on top gonna look contrasted. And just, top, print. Don't make long strokes, no way. Just a short top, 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 top. All light we're gonna have on the right side. Don't create too regular. Place by place, not everywhere. Imagine it's a light playing on some leaves. We can have some lights on the left side as well, but not much, and just on a very top edge. Look how good this brush going here. I have group of leaves in the center of the bush as well. If you're going for just green on your landscape, you have to play about shapes and different greens. I mean everything here in green color. Just some of really dark and some of really light. But in general, still all colors here are green. If you just go for green, you need to think more about shapes. This bush in general have a round shape. You can see, you can Google how lights going on a round-shaped objects on a sphere, for example. It's a light spot from a light side, then it's a middle shade, and then it's a shadow and a reflex. Here in general we have the same, even if it's a bush, but look, in general it's a round shaped. Here we have everything the same. Light, middle color, shadow, and some areas we can put a bit of light there as a reflexes. Also imagine it's not just a one round shape, it's also small round shapes in it, a kind of looking like a raspberry berry. There you also have small spheres in one, so here the same. So each of smallest sphere in big shape gonna have the same light and a middle color and a shadow. So in the center of big bush I also have another kind of spheric looking object, like a piece of bush. Same brush work going on all trees and bushes and plants we have here on the foreground. Same brush. Just follow the rule, no long strokes, just brush prints. Okay, I painted all edge. Now it's looking better, more natural. One important moment, I'm never painting area by area completely, I mean till the end. For example, complete this bush first, then another tree second, then some plants on the foreground. Next step, actually no. You have to pull up parts to another parts. If you already put it lots of detailing on some areas, do same with all others. After, check it, how good it's looking. If some parts over detailing, some don't, you have to pull it closer to each other. Add details there where it's needed and remove some detailing from areas that have over it. Now, as you can see, I have to detail these small groups of plants on the foreground because bush in the center I already kind of like. All other areas I have to pull up closer to it. We have kind of dark first layer, so all layers on top of it lighter and lighter, and this way plants getting better volume. Follow same light direction from the right side. Also, I can see now I have to pull this middle ground closer with the detailing to areas that I already have on my painting. You know, it is like a puzzle. You're pulling parts together to each other. That's why so important to check how process going from the distance. From the distance, you always getting better common view on your painting. Sometimes paints on your brush can be too watery. You can see now I'm removing extra watery on my palette, knocking on palette, and only after going on my painting. Technique, way of painting, now basically same. I'm just repeating on a different areas. And even I don't need to change brush on any other shapes. This shape, I'd say, just perfect. By the way, you can see now a first mark after water splashing. I already covered it with the green leaves. I just made this bush on the right side a little bit higher than before. It's a middle color now, middle green. I already told you, please check how light middle shade and a shadow going on just a normal sphere. And do the same with this commonly round shaped bush. Do the same. Light middle green color and keep shadow areas really dark. No any long strokes, just prints, lots of layers of prints. It will give us a look like we have 1,000 leaves there. Now I have a light shade and I can add a tiny details. Again, don't put too much light because it's already a middle area on a round shape. But it's like a separate segment from the big bush. There's one in the middle, like a separate small bush. What do you think? I kinda like it now. Yeah, this tree on the right side looking too dark now. It have to be dark, true, because it's a left side of bush, so there are shadow, but still we can make it look a bit lighter with detailing. Also, I wanna put like a small plants with the same brush, by the way, look. Let's go with the dark first. What do you think? Interesting shape. Let's do some more. Yes, we have no any flowers on this painting, but it doesn't mean we have no plants at all. We have so many different green plants in nature. Imagine some can be longer or wider. Plants can have different shapes. Like this, not everywhere. Place by place. Maybe something here. It's a foreground here, so yeah, we have to pay attention on the shapes and on the different plants that possibly can grow on a green grass. And the next layer, after we plant some plants, we have to go with a lighter green. It's almost just a yellow and a white. My brush is big, but my touches so gentle. I'm working with just an edge, with an edge of brush, touching gently, softly. Bristle on this brush, really long. If I will make too high pressure, print will be so big, can be so big, you know, from this brush. But I'm trying to not push almost at all on brush, just touching with edge, with the very tip of the brush. Now it's the tiniest accents. I'm just correcting some light. These lightest areas, we can't have a lot of it everywhere, because it's getting attention from our view. Don't put it everywhere, just a little tiny bit. And as I already told you before, if you have any doubts, step back, check it from the distance, look how it's going, because we are very close to the end of our painting now. So we have to be careful, we have to keep all shapes now that we already created, because it's looking good. it's always risky, over-painted too much, to lose some effects that we already have. Sometimes it's just a moment to stop your paint. And this moment you will catch better with experience, of course. More you will paint, more you will understand when it's a time to stop. I still have mark, by the way, on a sky area. Also gonna fix it. But now, in my opinion, painting basically completed. Just some finalization touches. Also, I want to add a tiny twigs and branches that can be visible in the middle of crown. I will do it with a brush number 1. It's have a very pointy tip, and just create those twigs and branches in the middle. Don't go too close to the edge of the bush. Color can be dark enough. It doesn't mean it's need to be very visible. No, I still mixing color with the greens and browns and black. Don't go with just a flat black. It's a tiny details, yes, it's a natural, it will give, better look for your bushes. But don't do it too straight, too visible. It can look really rough in the end if you will go just with a black. Always mix it a little bit. And also this bush, like a separated segment, looking interesting, and I painted a tiny twigs on it as well. If you got too dark twigs and branches, you can make it a bit lighter if you will put some lighter strokes on top. So don't be too worried if color for branches you mixed up too dark. You can correct it anytime. And now let me fix this tiny spot. I will just create some extra cloud, right? That's it, not visible at all. And it's a time for sign up. Don't forget about it. Even if you create it with tutorial, it's still your own painting that you created with your own hands. Be proud of it. For signing, I really like tiny brushes. Mine, it's a number 0. It's a plate, brush by plate for one stroke technique. It's have a really long bristle and can create very gentle and thin signs and strokes. That's it. Let me check some branches and twigs in the end. But honestly, I'm happy on the result. Hopefully, as you also. Don't be shy to ask me any questions if you have it still. After your paint will be completely dry, remove this tape. Usually I do it with a hair dryer with a hot air. This way we can remove this tape very safe. That's it. And let me demonstrate to you some details. Also, I want to share to you how you can frame it. This is IKEA frame. Let me open. It's have a glass. And look, if we will work on just a usual A4 size of paper, you can't frame it with a normal passepartout. White lines that tape left usually visible, not looking accurate, right? But if we have these extra centimeters, you can check. I used honeymoon paper that a little bit bigger than a normal size. This way we have extra centimeters and framed result with a passepartout looking accurate and just awesome. So you can frame it with a normal frame, even if it's just from IKEA. If you have unusual size, it's also can be done, can be framed in special stores that can frame it for you. That's it for today, my dear friends. I will be very happy to see your paintings. You can follow me on my Patreon and on my Facebook. All links down below. Wish you all the best. Bye bye.